Boy, am I good. Okay. Just let's say it. I'm good. This was great. Main headline on CNBC. White House announces U.S.-China trade deal, but offers few details. We have some details to get into, not the specific what the tariffs are going to look like number-wise, but one thing I could tell you, markets are ripping in pre-market here in futures. S&P's up 1.3%, NASDAQ up 1.7%. Oil's actually trading up a little bit as well, suggesting that maybe recession odds are coming down a little bit. We'll see. It really depends on what the final details look like. But check this out. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said that the U.S.-China trade talks in Geneva over the weekend were productive. He said he would give more details in a complete briefing on Monday morning, so tomorrow morning. Bessent added that President Donald Trump is fully informed about the discussions, okay? But we did get more details, okay? He said the talks yielded, quote, a great deal of productivity and that he would give, again, more details in a complete briefing on Monday morning. Greer said during remarks on Sunday that the officials reached some form of a deal but did not provide any specifics. He hailed the discussions as very constructive. Quote, it's important to understand how quickly we were able to come to an agreement, which reflects that perhaps the differences were not so large as may be thought. Greer said, quote, we're confident that the deal we struck with our Chinese partners will help us work towards resolving that national emergency, he said. The Chinese officials who participated in the meetings also spoke positively. Now, what this sounds like to me, that national emergency, it probably has to do with fentanyl, okay? Trump has referred to this as a national emergency because it obviously is. If you know anyone that's been affected by that situation, drugs in general, it's obviously a national emergency. Okay, so there's probably something worked out there. Now, what Wall Street's really going to care about is what is the tariff rate. Okay. There was speculation, if you will, there was a rumor earlier today that we covered here on the channel of a 50% tariff on China. I don't think that is going to happen, but there's a risk that tomorrow morning we get this conference, this presser of this deal, and there's a 50% tariff or 40% tariff. I don't think those numbers Wall Street's going to like all too much, okay? I think they would puke on that because that's essentially like a trade embargo still. Like that's not good. I don't think the Chinese would have agreed to that and talked about the talks being like positive. I think China probably would have just walked away. Like, why did you invite us to Switzerland if you were going to give us a 50% tariff? Like that's crazy. Okay. I don't think that's going to happen. Now, I can speculate all I want. We will know in just a couple of hours, essentially 12 hours or so, what the actual number is going to be. I would speculate that it's probably the 10% tariff. With China opening up their markets and with the optionality of the 20% fentanyl tariff going away, or maybe a pause on the fentanyl tariff, 20%. So maybe 10%, just like every other country, China opens their markets, kind of like the UK deal, but China needs to like do something about their fentanyl production issues, okay? And if they do, then the 20% tariff will stay off. And it's only 10%. If they don't, then it's going to be 30% total, okay? 30% total, I think, is a number that we could live with from a market's perspective. But 10%, oh boy, get ready to rock and roll. We are full on bull market. We are back, baby. Okay, so these are, again, just speculations from my part. But again, I don't think China would have agreed to a deal with tariffs higher than 30%. Like, that just doesn't seem likely to me. But again, we will see in just a couple of hours. Now, Vice Premier of the People's Republic of China, He Lefeng, said the meeting achieved substantial progress and reached important consensuses. Okay, the two sides both agreed on establishing a consultation mechanism for trade and economic issues. So better ties in general between the U.S. and China. And I think that was always the idea between leaders of China and the leaders of the U.S. China International Trade Representative Li Chengjing suggested that a statement would be coming soon with more details on the negotiations, but did not say when the statement would be released. Quote, "As we say back in China, if the dishes are delicious, then timing is not a matter." Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Come on, baby. That sounds good. Quote, "I think no matter when this statement is released, it's going to be a big news. Good news for the world." That's what China said. Okay? We're going to get a good deal here. Okay? Now, Donald Trump also went on True Social and had something huge to say here. Let me just pull this up. There's obviously that as well. But he says that the next big truth is going to be huge, okay? He says, quote, "My next truth will be one of the most important and impactful I have ever issued. Enjoy." Okay? Even the White House shared this, okay? Yeah, that's pretty big. And it's on prescription drugs and pharmaceuticals to looks like lower the prices. It says, "For many years, the world has wondered why prescription drugs and pharmaceuticals in the United States of America were so much higher in price than they were in any other nation, sometimes being 5 to 10 times more expensive than the same drug, manufactured in the same exact laboratory or plant by the same company. It was always difficult to explain and very embarrassing because, in fact, there was no correct or rightful answer. The pharmaceutical drug companies would say for years that it was research and development costs, and that all of these costs were and would be for no reason whatsoever borne by the suckers of America alone. Campaign contributions can do wonders, but not with me and not with the Republican Party. We are going to do the right thing, something that Democrats have fought for years. Therefore, I am pleased to announce that tomorrow morning in the White House at 9 a.m., I will be signing one of the most consequential executive orders in our country's history: prescription drug and pharmaceutical prices to be reduced almost immediately by 30 to 80%. They will rise throughout the world in order to equalize and, for the first time in many years, bring fairness to America." That is a huge win for the American public, okay? But I also think, again, at 9 a.m. roughly is when you're also going to get some big comments coming out from Trump on this China trade deal. And that's the big catalyst for markets, really over this entirety of this week, okay? You're going to have other catalysts as well. You're going to have retail sales. You're going to have CPI, all kinds of different data sets coming out. But the big catalyst for markets is whatever the tariff rate is for China. And I think it's going to be one hell of a good deal for both sides, okay? From a markets perspective, we're going to love it. And from a business perspective, it's going to be much better than the 145% tariff that we currently have on right now. So I don't want to speculate on certain stocks, some of our favorite stocks, if you will, and what it's actually, going to do to them, because, I could say one thing and be completely wrong 12 hours from now. Okay. I've already speculated enough that if we get a really good deal, you're going to see your high beta stocks, high growth stocks, AI names really come soaring back to life. I actually think you could see a 20% rally in markets from here with a good China trade deal. Recession odds plummet, inflation risks go away, the Fed can cut rates multiple times this year. Okay, we can start to look ahead towards deregulation and lower taxes. And I mean, all these good things give us more certainty around earnings. That the base case being 60% chance of a recession, according to most betting markets, Fed probably not cutting rates this year, higher inflation, weaker growth, all of that, throw it out the window. Wall Street will have to buy stocks and get allocated to markets with a good deal announced tomorrow morning. 10 to 30% tariffs, that's a green light to buy markets, okay? Above 30%, that's a yellow light. Above 50%, that's a red light, okay? That's bad. I don't think China would have agreed to egregious tariffs. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is probably the start of a larger rally. that I think could even send the S&P to about 700. Okay, which is about 20% higher from here. From your prior all-time highs, about 610, that is a rally of about 14%. So like from the start of the year, it was only 14% higher. We would have thought that was pretty easy to obtain, just judging off the last couple of years. But from here, that's still about 20%. So if you're in markets, I think you're in the right place. So let me know what you guys think about this down below in the comment section. We are so back, baby. Let me know, speculate down below. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.